Greetings, dear precious spirit soul that you are. Breathe into your heart. And when you do that, remembering that you're part of Source, we call it the divine. Words do not explain. And we are using words to help us get to our own connection with our beloved, and in the Vedas we would call it Paramatma or Super Self. Okay? My topic, you are already successful. Now, why I'm kind of quiet is there's more people up here that are camping and doing different things, so I don't want to, to cause them any disturbance so they can rest and all that. Now, you are already successful. And what is success? Success means attaining what you would intend. That means if you're watching this program, you are successful because you intended to watch it, you intended to use it, or however it may be. And that was your intention, and you did it. And that is success. That's successful. In fact, some people who feel so repressed and depressed and depowered, it pushes a person into such deep apathy. And apathy is not deep meditation. Big difference. So it pushes a person down into deep apathy and helplessness and weakness, where they have completely forgotten who they are. And so what we get caught up in is this system somehow built on opposites, success and failure. Well, when you break up a word like success, which means having attained what your intention, and you make it the opposite of failure, meaning that you do not, well, first of all, that's a lie, because you always do. And the lie then is the separation of us from our knowing, realization, and activation of our true divine self. And when you acknowledge and recognize that you are already successful, you no longer are a party to or participating in the game of winner and loser, success and failure. You're good, I'm bad, you're good, it's right, and all of this. Now, in each of these divisions, there's always the absolute, that the mind, you would say, the way the mind operates, is it then, because it's creating a reality that you might say is out of alignment with the divine. So it produces what we perceive here as birth and death, life and death, love and hate. It produces a fear-based reality, and also, according to the Vedas means knowledge. And what you want to use knowledge for, ancient wisdom, and whatever see, words are always spell casting also. So you have to take your emotion away from all of the words that you're using, and therefore you're using them then in the context of a vibration, because they are making vibrations, but you're not giving the vibration the fuel of faith. Faith is the fuel of manifestation, you see, because you're doing that. So when we're then, because we're using words here, and yet as we become more and more in tune with who we are, our telepathic abilities increase. This is it. When you know you're already a success, you can't get what you don't already have. So all the false programs are about augmentation, being more than who you are. When you want to be more than who you are, you're already less. because you're acknowledging that you are, and recognizing and therefore making real and true, that you then prove by your experience and your reality and all of this, because that's what you do. This is who we are. Then what we do is we're trying to become whole and complete and perfect. So, but those whole, complete, and perfect then become dependent upon what the mind tells us, the thought form systems, what other people's minds are telling them, and therefore telling us. And so then you've got the relativity of my truth and your truth, or I'm good and you're bad, but that's not denying that in the absolute of who we are absolute goodness. And in absolute goodness, what we might say person would call evil does not exist, because evil is a perverted perception, and consciousness, a perverted consciousness, basically, and consciousness having to do with knowledge and what that knowledge causes us to do, you see. And who we are is beyond any words at all, and beyond definition, you see. So, and that's deaf Phoenicians, and the Phoenicians were very big in the developing of the languages, especially the English languages, and then it passed on to, Rome and Italy and Latin. I took Latin in school. It's the only class I cheated in, ever. But what it was, I'm only in Latin because I always wanted to look smart. So I thought that's why I even made my focus get me glasses or something, because I thought if I wore glasses, I'd look smart, And I tried to be really smart, like taking advanced algebra. And I'm sitting in this class with this teacher who had his back to us all the time, scribbling these letters on the wall. And I'm going, I can't figure this thing. I mean, what is this? And so I raised my hand one day and I said, how does this have anything to do with my life? And he says, nothing. I said, oh, and I never went back. I got a D in that, but who cares? But anyway, because then only smart people know math. Really? Well, nature has no math. How's that really helping me or not helping me in my true divine self, you see? So what you want to do is, you're already a success, and that's where our focus needs to be, on knowing and being who we really are, and knowing that we already have it all. In the book, my second book, my first book, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business, and soon is available a version of it in Spanish with Dr. Elizabeth Alanis and I, and be given free of charge to the entire Hispanic community for them. And it really comes down to where our weakness and fault is. We want to be liked because we do want people to be happy, and us too. But the problem is, when you think you need to be liked and that you have to get the acknowledgement and agreement of others who have something you don't, and you're trying to always augment and enhance who you are by trying to pretend or be somebody else or take on this character and or my body or all of these kind of things, that's when the person gets dumbed down, numbed down, dejected, not knowing who they are, and because they're tormented by this mind. And I remember one of the first things too I did in my work was to learn how to just meditate without the mind going, and that was very, very powerful. There's more things now too, but here when I say back, you're already successful. And what you don't use, you lose. It means you lose. You don't get rid. You can't lose you. I don't care what anyone says or anybody does or what they think they're doing or trying to do. It's always trying to convince you, to get you to agree that you're a failure, that you're not good enough, that you can't cut the mustard, so to speak. It's all of this competition, because the dual mind, that means has to, because here's an interesting thing. anyway, Achincha Beta Beta Tattva is a Sanskrit word meaning we are inconceivably, simultaneously the same and different. And what that does is it brings the quality of personalness. We are persons. We're not an abstract. We're not a blip on a screen. We're not that was born and die. We're not a concept. The body, this body is a concept. Our true divine spiritual body we already have, yet we can acknowledge it or not. So this is where it is. It isn't bragging and thinking, oh, I'm a success. It isn't bragging, oh, I'm wonderful. No, that isn't really what it's about. It's about really knowing who you are and the courage to activate those qualities and those abilities. And you have to look at what's stopping you is that thing of afraid of being criticized. I suggest get that book of mine, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business, and it's great for everybody. Then also my latest is Live Your Bliss. And why that Live Your Bliss is so important is bliss is you without the thinking, where you're really empowering yourself in the knowing and being that you're already a success, that you have this. And why bliss is important. Bliss isn't something somebody gives you. Bliss isn't something, I'm blissful, oh, look at it. No, it is a state of purity without any programs running. And in this world, it's all about programs. It's all about the program. You got to have a program for this. You got to have a We don't need programs because you already know all in all realms, all dimensions, and that's in this very limited kind of construct that we've been, in a sense, producing, that is spewing through our very eyes from the crystal brain that receives the communication, you see. So breathe into your heart, you see, and when you do that through your nose, you're depriving this machine mind of oxygen, and therefore it doesn't even function because it has to operate on oxygen, your power, your energy, because you are eternal and you are life itself and you are the absolute. And as we are each part of the absolute, not saying I am the absolute. Well, if you say I am, that isn't actually you in your one small, it is the totality. So you are already successful. You don't have to get it or feel better or finally attain it. You've made it. You already have. Now activate yourself, you see.